Hey guys, let me scoot the chair slightly over, there we go. Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today I'm going to be ranking the 9th Doctor era, which is kind of a fancy way of saying I'm going to be ranking Series 1. But I have been ranking a lot of the Doctor's eras, and I thought we'd do a little modern Who and rank all of Eccleston's stories. And I'll be ranking them by story, so it's what, about 10 if I've done my math on this right. We've got about 10 stories to get through. Now, I love Series 1. It's one of my favorite seasons in modern Who. It's one of my top 10 favorite seasons in all of Doctor Who. It's very strong. Eccleston is a great Doctor. Rose is a good companion this season. Plus, we get introduced to Captain Jack. I really like Jack a lot. And just some really strong scripts this season. So, starting at the bottom, in 10th place we have Father's Day. This is a good episode. It's just, I've watched Series 1 a lot because I watched the Russell T Davies era a lot back in the late 2000s, early to mid 2010s. I was very much into this era of the show. Even though I am from Classic Who, watching it when I was little in the 80s, watching the TV movie when it first aired in 96. I really enjoyed this era. So I like Father's Day. The guy playing Rose's dad is putting in a great performance. And then the lesson at the end is really good, especially since the Doctor himself isn't there for a good chunk of the episode. And so they're having to make do without him. And even Eccleston, when he is there, puts in some good performances. Just, I don't ever have the urge to go back and rewatch it now. It just doesn't hold up for me now. The CGI for the creatures looks very dated. I mean, people will knock Classic Who like, I can't watch Classic Who, I only watch Modern Who because the Classic Who effects look so dated and cheesy. And I'm like, some of those Classic Who effects hold up better than some of those Russell T Davies era effects. Sorry. And those winged creatures, I mean, they're fine. I can handle cheesy effects. I can. Although I sometimes have an easier time with cheesy practical effects than I do cheesy CGI effects. We're talking like Mortal Kombat Annihilation levels of... The idea of these creatures appearing when things go wrong with time, but yet we've never seen them again. The Doctor is a time traveler. He changes stuff all the time. And I know he does the line of, yeah, but I know what I'm doing. And I'm sitting here going, really? Do you? It's just interesting that we've never seen those creatures again in Doctor Who. It's like they exist in the laws of that show just for that episode. And then once that's over, that's all right. It's still a good episode, though. There's no bad episodes in Series 1 for me. And number 9 on the list is The Unquiet Dead, just because I can't watch the thing. It spooks me. I call it the scariest episode of Doctor Who ever made because I've talked about this before. I have a hard time sitting through that episode. It just unnerves me. The way the actors playing the, let's just call them zombies to make it easy, the way they're playing the zombies is so creepy, combined with the makeup and the light on them. They just look scary and creepy and terrifying. The actors are doing a good job playing them, the way they move, the sounds they make. You get the idea that this isn't something human. This is a parody of a human. This is something that is puppeteering a cadaver. And they get that across very well, which makes it very creepy. The guy playing Charles Dickens, by the way, is awesome. Completely awesome. A good episode, again. It's just I can't really go back and watch it. It just bothers me. So it's this low on the list. Number 8 on the list is the World War III and was it Aliens in London one. To be honest, I probably should have put this one lower. This is, again, a one I used to like more. It just hasn't aged well for me. I like the woman playing Harriet Jones. The guy who's playing the alien that's masquerading as the vice president, I like him a lot, the heavyset guy. And then the woman that shows back up in Boomtown, the Slitheen Vermit, the actress playing that, she's doing a good job. Yeah, the fart jokes are a little silly and eh. I like the actual costumes for the Slitheen, the green creature form, because that harkens back to Classic Who to me, the kind of silliness of the Classic Who design. So I feel kind of like I'm seeing a Classic Who monster if they had the technology to make them look like that back then. And so that kind of works. It makes it feel like Doctor Who. The bit when they're filling out how to kill the one, he's doing the narrows it down, Rex Acorico Felipatorius. that's a cool scene. Plus, I just love the name of the planet and watching them try to get it right. Rexicoricofallapatorius. I love that. That's wonderful. I don't know if it needed to be 2 parts. It does drag on a bit. It's not a bad episode. It's just, again, I don't really ever have the desire to go back and watch it anymore. Number 7 on the list is The Long Game, which again is not a perfect episode, but it's not a bad episode. I like it more for the things it does, like showing us a failed companion in Adam, showing that not everyone can handle traveling with a doctor, and showing that that's why the doctor is wise in who he chooses to travel with him, since basically Rose is the one that picks him to originally go. I like that. I enjoy how it shows a perfect example of the doctor having unintended consequences to his actions that end up biting him in the rear end later. Because him not staying to clean up his mess here in the long game is what causes that 100 years of hell and causes the events for Bad Wolf and Parting of the Ways, with him ultimately having to regenerate. And we've seen this happen with the Doctor several times, where something he does has unintended consequences later, because he didn't think something through. So I like them more for those aspects than for the actual story. The actual story is fine. And then the actors in it are fine. I don't really have any problems there. Moving up on the list at number 6 is Boomtown. Boomtown is fun. Boomtown's interesting because it does kind of jump between silly and serious, much like the Ninth Doctor, how Eccleston can switch from one to the other on the fly pretty well. This episode really does that. It has some nice tender moments in it, like when the Slitheen woman spares the reporter's life. I enjoyed that. It has the humorous moments, like, just tell her the doctor's here to see her. Doctor, just tell her that the doctor. She's going out the window, isn't she? And then when she's trying to leave and he just keeps using the sonic to bring her back, that look on Eccleston's face when she keeps trying to turn around, he's just... That's funny! They didn't have to play that for laughs, but they did. Even the part when him and her are having the dinner together, that scene swaps between humorous and serious. Because you have her trying to kill him and him catching it and stopping it with a spray in her mouth. That's better. And then we can do this with our dart. He goes, yep, I knew that. That whole bit is funny. But then they have that very serious discussion about, every now and then you let one go. You've been living too long. You're speaking from behind a dead woman's eyes. All of that's very serious. So I enjoy a lot of that as well. Again, not essential Doctor Who, but it's a fun watch for me. Moving up to number 5 on the list, I would say End of the World. Again, some of the CGI has not dated well on this one at all. I like the creatures of the repeating meme and how that turns out just to be a fallacy. The idea of Cassandra is interesting. Watching Rose coming to grips, because this is her first trip, coming to grips with time travel. The fact that everything dies, everything ends. She's seeing the world destroyed, how dangerous it is to travel with a doctor, and knowing that, people die. Eccleston's putting in a great performance here. The fact Rose can call her mom in the past and know she's fine. Learning at the end of that episode about the Time War and I don't think it mentions the Daleks by name in that one. Learning that the Time Lords were destroyed and that he's the only one. That's an interesting spin on Doctor Who, considering he'd always kind of been in fear of the Time Lords or running from the Time Lords, knowing they're gone and he's the only one left. The kind of lonely god type is also interesting. And then I really liked the woman playing the plant woman, the one that kind of flirts with the doctor, which I like that, because to me the actors, her and Chris, had good chemistry together. I thought the characters had good chemistry. And I just like the idea of a plant woman being sentient and all that. And I love that line where she tells him, I didn't believe it was true, when she scanned him and learned he was a Time Lord. I'm so sorry, when we get our first foreshadowing about Gallifrey being gone. I thought the actress playing her did a really good job. So again, not necessarily essential Doctor Who viewing, but I find it a fun watch. And then we move into number 4, which is Bad Wolf and the Parting of the Ways. Part 1, I have some issues because so many of the references have dated so badly. But the ending of it is really good, with the reveal of the Daleks. Watching Eccleston not taking anything. I love when he just breaks the camera. Oh, because she broke the camera. What, like this? Boom. I like the rapport between the Doctor and Linda. Is it Linda with a Y or Linda with an I? I forget. Linda with a Y. I like the rapport they have together, again, and I like the fact Rose does not like it at all. I will admit that's kind of funny. So I like the cliffhanger to part one. That bit when he's telling the Daleks, he's like, no. I said no, it means no. I'm going to wipe every last stinking Dalek off the face of the planet or whatever. Rose, I'm coming to get you. I enjoy all of that. It's a great cliffhanger. Part two, I do enjoy. I feel bad because, like, pretty much everybody dies, just about. Like, all of those people on there, the Doctor couldn't save them. I love when Doctor Who remembers the Doctor can't save everybody. People die in Doctor Who. You know, people die. So I like that it's realistic like that, like Classic Who was. And a lot of those people just don't make it, including, like, the guy and the girl, the guest actors who were kind of flirting, and they get killed trying to fight the Daleks. The Emperor Daleks utilized all right, nothing special. Jack dying and then coming back is interesting, and I like how that sets up Torchwood and then him coming back in Series 3. The regeneration is really good. It's the first time we ever see the Doctor regenerate standing up, which has been done to death in modern Who. But for the time, it was impressive to see him regenerate standing up like that. It's a great regeneration. I like that he has a little speech, but not much of one. It's more him just kind of comforting Rose to what's about to happen. And then the effect of the regeneration is really good. I actually think it's one of the best regenerations. I like that it's not just a simple transition from Eccleston to Tennant. You actually kind of see his face shifting and morphing, which looks and sounds a little painful. I like that. I wish they'd do that more. Yeah, I think it's a good one. Number 3 on the list is Rose. I like Rose. Rose has a hard job. It has to introduce Doctor Who to an entirely new generation of people who may have never seen it, while at the same time wanting to please fans of Classic Who and let them know that the show is still okay and good to watch. And it does that. It takes a very Spearhead from Space approach, and it utilizes that well, including bringing the Autons back. It does a good job of bringing back a Classic Who villain, but not maybe one of the more recognizable top-tier ones. You do something like the Autons, which only had a couple appearances in Classic Who. And again, like Spirit, it's kind of harkening back to Spearhead there. You don't dump a lot of exposition on us about why the 9th Doctor is now the 9th Doctor, not the 8th Doctor. You don't even touch on the Time War here. It doesn't just overload you with information, instead parceling that out in later episodes. It does a good job of getting you used to who the Doctor is in that short amount of time between the Doctor talking to her and her meeting that one guy who runs the website that tracks him. You get little nods to him used to be looking different, like when he looks in the mirror. Not bad, look at the ears, that's really well done. Again, it's got a good mix of action and humor and story. I love when he's getting choked by the hand. Eccleston is playing that really well. And then the very first scene we see him, he just grabs his hand and says, run. Lets you know you're in for something. That's a great intro for a Doctor, if you're bringing Doctor Who back. Again, some of the effects have not aged well. But still, it did its job of being a good first episode and getting people invested and getting them to tune in to the next episode. Number 2 on the list, and it was really hard to do my top 2 because the top 2 are so good. I'm going to go with The Empty Child and The Doctor Dances. It's just phenomenal. It is such a good tune. Stephen Moffat, man, when he doesn't have the weight of Doctor Who Sherlock in the 1010 movie on his shoulders, he's one of the best writers Doctor Who's ever had. And again, taking that trope of something normal in everyday life and making it terrifying is one of the things Doctor Who can do better than anyone. And it does it really good here, of course, with a child. And just a child in a gas mask asking for his mom. But it's so creepy. Are you my mommy? Mommy! It's so good the way that works. What happens if he touches you? You become like him. Good performances for all sorts of people. The introduction of Captain Jack. Again, I love me some Captain Jack. John Barrowman is just fantastic in that role. Would love to have Jack back again. Was so glad we got him back a little bit in the Whittaker era. I love the World War II setting. It being at night. The idea that the nanites caused it, how the Doctor fixed it, and the fact that everybody lives. I do like that again, I tend to, like I said, like when Doctor Who realizes he can't save everyone, but it does make those rare occasions when he can, like here, all the more awesome. And that look of joy on this Doctor's, especially on this particular Doctor's face when he's giving his Everybody Lives speech, which is probably one of the best speeches in Doctor Who, and that pure joy that the Ninth Doctor has when he realizes it, when he finds the solution, and that he gets to save everyone. That's earned. That's earned because he usually can't save everyone. So he really earns that, and that means so much to me. It's just a perfect, and also the guy who plays Dr. Constantine, I love that guy. He is awesome. I'm sure he's a veteran actor, but he is amazing. Him playing the Dr. Constantine is just great. Even that bit when he looks at the scar on his hand, that look on his face combined with the camera work there, phenomenal. That scene when you see everybody changing in and everybody getting up from the bed is so awesome. When he wraps his cane and they all sit up, they're not dead. That is just a beautiful scene. And then that cliffhanger when they're all about to close in on them. That's a good cliffhanger. And then the bit when, what's that? Oh, that's the reel. You know, the tape ran out 30 seconds ago. I told him to go to the room. This is his room. That's so many good scenes in that episode. It's just a great two-parter. And number one on the list is Dalek. It is probably my favorite Dalek story, although there are a couple classic ones that are giving it competition. But it's never felt more personal between the Doctor and the Daleks, or a Dalek, as it does here. You know, after all of the rage he probably has toward the Daleks after the Time War, to see one still survived. And there's so many times he interacts with the Daleks, it's just gold, Doctor Who gold. When he first sees it and he realizes it can't hurt him, that laugh he does, oh my God, that joyous laugh. And he's just right up in its face, and the anger and the rage and just this gauntlet of emotions he is going through as a character, seeing this thing of pure evil to him and how he wants to destroy it, which is a very un-Doctor thing to do. And then that speech later when he tells it just to die, and it tells me you would make a good Dalek. And it's not saying that to, get the last word. It's saying that because it honestly thinks that. That's just beautiful, seeing how quickly the Doctor can kind of shift into that. And even right there at the end when he realizes the Dalek has changed, and he actually says, I'm sorry. Isn't that a good thing? Not for a Dalek. And all the emotions that he'd been holding inside probably come to the surface. The anguish, the sorrow, the sadness, seeing that burst out of him. It's just, Eccleston puts in some amazing acting. So does Billy Piper. I like the guy who plays Van Statten too. He plays that role really well. I love that this episode does such a good job of communicating just how dangerous one Dalek is and why they have to Deus Machina the ending a lot of time when it's a bunch of them. Because, all of those people couldn't take out that one Dalek. And I love the fact it remembers the Dalek is a genius. They're intelligent. Like when it breaks the safe code and when it kills them all by blasting the water everywhere and then shooting the water to electrocute everybody. It could have killed them all anyway, but it's just quicker and more efficient to do it that way. I like the fact that Van Statten gets his comeuppance. I do enjoy that. And the fact that the girl's like having cement poured all into it to seal it up. I love getting our first Cyberman Easter egg of the modern series with the, Revenge of the Cyberman head. I like that. It's such a good episode. I absolutely love Dalek. How many people live there? This many, all dead. Why? Because they honestly believe they should die. I love that. So my favorite episode of the Christopher Eccleston era by a slight margin is Dalek, with the empty child Doctor dances right behind it. So I want to know what you think of the Ninth Doctor's era, which is basically Series 1. So comment down below and let me know and tell me how you would rank them. Other things to do, don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button and the bell for notifications so you never miss out on another video. My goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers in 2023, and we are well on our way to that. I also have a Patreon if you would like to support me that way. There's a link to that down in the description below. My entry-level tier is only $2 a month. I also want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons: Colin Coney, Finn Perkins, and Stephen Crane. I appreciate their support, as I do the support of all of my patrons. I have a P.O. box down there if there's anything you would like to send me to look at and review, and a link to my Amazon wish list, which I have updated recently with some stuff like Greatest Show in the Galaxy, Image of the Fendal, and Silver Nemesis, because I haven't seen those in a long time. I've only seen those once, actually. Is down there as well. Most importantly, though, thank you for watching.